right. So if you were trying to keep up with the flood of headlines coming out of CES 2026, there was one announcement that really, really stood
Oh,
out.
it was a lot to take in.
It was a lot. But this one stood out not just because it was big, but because it felt, well, completely contradictory.
That's the perfect word for it, a paradox.
We're talking about Ford's radical plan to bring level 3 autonomous driving to, of all things, a mass market, affordable electric vehicle.
Right. And you have to set this against the backdrop of their Model E division, their electric arm, which is, let's just say it's struggling.
Struggling is putting it mildly.
They just announced a staggering $19.5 billion in special charges, mostly for restructuring and, asset write-downs. And yet, in the same breath, they're promising this technological moonshot.
And it's not just any tech, it's level 3, the eyes off, we take the legal liability kind of autonomy.
Exactly.
And they're targeting a midsize EV pickup truck planned to start at just $30,000 by 2028.
Which is a price point that just doesn't seem to make sense when you compare it to, say, the Cadillac Escalade IQ, which is where GM is putting its level 3 tech. And that car starts at, what, $127,000?
So that's our deep dive mission today. We want to really unpack this. How can a company that is in the middle of this massive, painful financial course correction, how can they afford to take the biggest technological and legal risk in the auto industry?
And still hit that magic $30,000 price point. On the surface, it just doesn't compute. So yeah, okay, let's unpack this.
We have to start with the technology itself, because the difference between what Ford offers now and what they're promising, it's not just a step up, it's fundamental.
Absolutely. So if you've driven a modern Ford, you might know Blue Cruise.
Their current system.
Yes, their level 2 system.
Yeah.
And look, it's genuinely good. It lets you drive hands off on, I think it's over 130,000 miles of pre-mapped highways now.
But there's that one crucial distinction that makes it level 2. It is strictly eyes on.
That's the key. The system is assisting you, but you have to remain focused on the road the whole time.
If you look at your phone for more than a couple of seconds, you get a warning. And if something goes wrong, the responsibility is legally yours. You are still the driver.
That's the entire ballgame. The jump to level 3, what Ford is calling eyes off, it's not some incremental improvement. It's a whole new world of legal and technical responsibility.
Okay, so let's paint the picture. The level 3 system is engaged. You're in rush hour traffic on an approved highway. What does that actually mean for the person sitting in the driver's seat?
It means you are legally permitted to disengage from the task of driving. You can look away. You can check your email. You can watch a video on the center screen.
Things that would get you a ticket today.
A big ticket, yes. The system has to give you enough warning when it needs you to take over again, but until that moment, the car is the driver.
And here's the part that matters for the manufacturer. During that time, when the system is driving,
The manufacturer accepts legal liability.
it's huge.
Exactly. This is why getting regulatory approval is such an incredibly high hurdle. Mercedes-Benz has done it, but only in very specific, highly regulated states like California and Nevada.
And Ford is essentially saying they're going to clear that same legal and technical bar, but for pretty much the whole North American market. And they're going to do it on their cheapest EV platform first.
Which brings us right to their philosophy here. They're trying to democratize the tech.
Right? Doug Field, who runs their EV and digital teams, he said it explicitly. Autonomy shouldn't be a premium feature.
And that single statement right there, it sets up the core battle in the industry. Ford is completely inverting the traditional playbook for rolling out new tech.
Yeah, if you think about it, for the last 30 years, any big innovation, navigation, airbags, even early ADAS, it always shows up first on the S-Class or the Escalade.
The flagship, where the margins are high and you can, help pay for all that expensive R&D.
And GM is sticking right to that script. Their level 3 system, also due around 2028, is for that $127,000 Escalade IQ.
The safe, established, luxury-first rollout.
So why is Ford running in the complete opposite direction, targeting a $30,000 pickup truck?
Their bet is on volume and utility. They believe the market will reward them for giving time back to the volume buyer. Think about the contractor, the small business owner, the person with a long commute.
People who live in their trucks.
Exactly. If they can offer L3 on an affordable pickup, it completely changes the value proposition of that vehicle. CEO Jim Farley even called it a Model T moment. He's arguing that real innovation is about accessibility.
Okay, but the Model T moment analogy. The original Model T was cheap to build and cheap to run. This technology is inherently expensive, So where's the catch?
And that's where we get to the fine print. That's where their democratization claim gets, well, a little qualified.
I was waiting for this.
While the truck itself might start at $30,000, Level 3 autonomy will absolutely not be standard. It's going to be an extra cost option.
Probably a subscription.
Almost certainly a subscription.
Which makes that whole democratization thing feel a little less powerful, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If I have to keep paying a fee, that's not exactly the Model T ethos of making it cheap for everyone up front.
It definitely shifts the calculation. The subscription is Ford's way of lowering the sticker price, that barrier to entry, while trying to recoup the massive R&D costs over the vehicle's life.
So what can we expect that to cost?
Well, let's look at the benchmarks. The current Level 2 Blue Cruise is about $50 a month or just under $500 annually.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Mercedes-Benz, with their regulated L3 system, they charge about $2,500 a year for Drive Pilot.
So Ford's L3 will have to land somewhere in between. Maybe north of $500 a year, but hopefully not as high as Mercedes.
I'd expect something closer to $1,000, maybe $1,500 a year to cover the added liability and complexity. So even if the truck starts at $30,000, a Level 3 equipped one, after options and destination charges, could easily be closer to $35,000.
Still way cheaper than the Escalade.
Dramatically cheaper, but not a pure entry-level proposition anymore. And this strategy, it isn't just about market share. For Ford, it's become existential.
They see what's coming from Chinese manufacturers. Farley has called it an existential threat.
Right. They feel like to compete on price and on tech, they have no choice but to own the entire process. That includes this Level 3 stack.
But that urgency, while it makes sense, it forces us to confront that $19.5 billion elephant in the room.
Exactly. This incredibly aggressive, high-risk strategy is being announced just weeks after Ford basically admitted its last EV strategy was fundamentally broken.
And that's the central tension we have to address, the credibility gap. How do you square this incredibly ambitious promise with the very recent financial disaster?
It raises a huge question. I mean, when a company announces nearly $20 billion in special charges, with $8.5 billion of that in asset write-downs, that signals massive strategic failure. This is not just a bad quarter.
The reversal. It has to affect morale, investor confidence, everything.
And the Model E division, the one that's supposed to deliver this futuristic truck, it lost $5 billion in 2024 alone.
And they don't expect it to be profitable until 2029, a year after this revolutionary tech is supposed to debut.
We've already seen them make course corrections that show the struggle. The next-gen F-150 Lightning, they abandoned the pure all-electric version mid-development.
And turned it into an extended-range EV with a gas generator.
Which is basically an admission that pure electrification just wasn't working fast enough for their truck buyers.
So why, in the middle of all this financial turmoil and strategic backpedaling, do they feel confident enough to commit to Level 3 at this price? What's giving them the assurance?
They're leaning very heavily on two things: the people and the platform. They put immense weight on Doug Field's track record. He's a Silicon Valley vet from Apple, but maybe more importantly, he was central to the Model 3 ramp-up at Tesla.
So they're betting that his team, the Skunkworks group, can pull off an efficiency that the old Ford just couldn't.
Exactly that. They're emphasizing that the development for this new platform is moving way faster than anything they've done before. They believe the internal reorg is finally working, letting them vertically integrate this new tech stack despite, the financial wreckage from the older platforms.
Which brings us to the hardware, the technical underpinnings. If they're going to hit that price point and deliver L3, the vehicle itself has to be revolutionary.
And that's the Universal EV Platform, the UEV. The UEV is the key to the whole $30,000 puzzle. It's a radical new manufacturing approach.
And the numbers they're claiming are just. They're astonishing. 20% fewer parts, 25% fewer fasteners, 40% fewer workstations on the assembly line.
And 15% faster assembly time overall.
How are they even doing that?
They're adopting techniques like gigacasting. Think of it like this. You take a huge chunk of the vehicle's chassis, which used to be made of dozens of stamped metal pieces all welded together, and you mold it as one single massive piece of aluminum.
So it massively reduces the parts count and complexity.
Dramatically. It streamlines the whole manufacturing floor. And those savings from the UEV platform are essentially what's meant to subsidize the incredibly costly hardware and software for Level 3 autonomy.
That makes sense. And what about the brains of the car?
That's the other piece. They've developed a new high-performance computer center in-house. It's one compact module that integrates everything: infotainment, triggy connectivity. By owning that, they save a ton of money compared to buying separate systems from suppliers.
And that internal control is critical for the autonomy stack. Ford is claiming that by owning the end-to-end stack for the sensors, they can get cost savings of up to 30% on the hardware.
But this is where we run into the biggest, highest stakes technical gamble of the whole project, and it's all about the sensors.
Okay.
We know that high-end L3 systems, like the one GM is building for the Cadillac, they use LiDAR, laser imaging. It's expensive, but it gives you incredibly reliable depth perception. It's what you need to prove to regulators and insurers that your system is safe enough to take on liability.
And what has Ford said about LiDAR for their Level 3 Blue Cruise?
They've been very, very vague. They have not confirmed if it will use LiDAR.
And the suspicion is,
What? The suspicion is that to hit that $30,000 price point, even with a subscription, they are trying to do it with just a camera and radar-based vision system. Similar to Tesla's approach, but with the massive added burden of proving Level 3 liability.
that feels like a huge risk. Can you actually achieve the reliability you need to take legal responsibility without the redundancy that LiDAR offers?
That is the defining technical question of this whole plan. If they can pull it off with a cheaper sensor suite, they truly democratize L3. If they can't, they either have to jack up the price of the option to include LiDAR, or they have to scale back what the system can do, which undermines the whole promise.
Before we wrap up, there's one more feature to touch on. Their new custom AI assistant.
Right, and this isn't just, ChatGPT wired into the dash. They're using what they call Ford-specific data. The example they gave was great, and it's perfect for a truck owner.
The one at the home improvement store.
Exactly. You're standing there looking at a pile of lumber and drywall, and you're wondering, will this all fit?
Instead of guessing, you just take a picture with your phone.
And the AI analyzes the photo, calculates the dimensions, and cross-references it with the exact dimensions of your truck bed and even the trailer you're towing. It gives you an immediate, accurate answer. It's a move beyond just voice commands to real, proactive utility.
So let's connect all these dots. If we look at the big picture, this is a breathtakingly high-stakes strategy.
It's the ultimate tightrope walk. They're trying to perform open-heart surgery on a hemorrhaging EV division while simultaneously building a world-class rocket ship. It's delivering the most complex, legally significant technology in the industry at a mass market price. No other major automaker is even attempting that.
So the success of this entire vision, it really all hinges on that 2027 launch of the UEV pickup. If they hit the price target and prove the gigacasting savings are real, then the 2028 Level 3 promise actually becomes plausible.
It does. And a quick note for any current Ford EV owners out there listening, anyone with a Mach-E or a Lightning, this new Level 3 system is designed from the ground up for the new UEV architecture.
Meaning it's not going to be retrofitted to current models.
Correct. It's a clean break.
So this is it. It's the final component of a strategy meant to save the company, arriving in 2028.
What's really fascinating here isn't the technology itself. GM and Mercedes have already proven that Level 3 is technically possible. The real question this poses for the whole industry is advanced autonomy a high-margin luxury product? Or can it actually be democratized?
If Ford succeeds, they rewrite the rules.
They completely rewrite the rules of tech deployment. But if they fail, if the regulatory hurdles are too expensive without LiDAR, or if the UEV platform doesn't deliver those cost savings, that $19.5 billion write-off might just be the opening act.
They need this pivot to work, and they need it to work quickly and flawlessly. Which leads to our final question for you to think about after this deep dive. What do you see as the single biggest hurdle, technical or financial, that Ford has to clear in the next 2 years?
It's a lot to think about.
It is. Thank you for joining us on the deep dive. We really hope this gave you the clarity and context you needed to understand Ford's massive, high-stakes bet. We appreciate you taking the time to let us unpack all of this for you.